will be starting very
Live.
Okay, thanks very much, everybody. Caroline, are we quoted at the moment? I think we are.
Convener, I have yourself, Councillor Thompson and Councillor Fairbairn. I don't see that we are quoted with the three of you, yes. I don't see that we've got Councillor McClelland or Councillor Carruthers at the moment, but we are quoted.
That's great. Thanks very much. Well, I think we'll just start then, and if they come in, that'll be fine. The first item on the agenda, well, first of all, welcome to the Annandale and Eskdale Divisional Licensing Board. This meeting on the 9th of March at 2 p.m. This meeting is going to be held online, as you're aware, and I give approval of members remote. As Caroline said, we don't have any apologies yet. I imagine that Henry and Ian may join us at some time later on. Okay. We'll move on to declarations of interest. Now, I did have a discussion with Caroline earlier on regarding item number 9, because coming to a planning applications. Although declarations of interest are the interest of members to decide, this is a totally different application. It's regarding licence and not planning. Therefore, I've made people aware that there's three of us on this licensing board which are on the planning application, and I've said that the declarations of interest are on at the moment. I'm not going to declare an interest because it's a totally different setup. I don't know if anybody else has any declarations of interest. Stephen?
Yeah, no, thanks, convener. And no, I mean, as you say, it's a different process. And either way, while I don't have any particular interest in that planning application, it's also something that would have to be determined on its own merits anyway. So it's so I'm happy to sort of note that, but I don't think we should step down from the meeting. Thank you.
Okay, thanks very much, Dougie.
No, convener, just all noted what you said. Just I'm aware of that planning issue as well. So just agreed.
Thank you very much. Okay, then item number 3 is a minute. I mean, the 21st of January 2022. Stephen, thanks for standing in for me on that one. Can we agree that?
Welcome.
Item number 4 is the Licences Scotland Act 2005 application for a licence extended hours granted under delegated authority, report by the clerk to the boards. Caroline, I take it that's just for noting.
Correct, convener.
Are we happy to note?
Happy to note, convener.
Happy to note, convener, yeah.
Thank you very much. Item number 5 is the Licences Scotland Act 2005 application for minor variations granted under delegated authority. Report by the clerk to the boards. Again, it's one. Are we happy to note?
Noted.
Noted.
Thank you very much. Item number 6 is Licences Scotland Act 2005 application for transfer of premise licence granted under delegated authority. Report by the clerk boards. This is just for noting in it.
Correct, convener.
Happy to note?
Noted.
Noted.
Thank you very much. I should have said at the start that item number 8 has been removed to the agenda. That has been resolved, thankfully. So we'll go on to item number 7, which is the application for new premise licence, which is Lonsdale Cinema, Lady Street, Annan. Caroline, can you take us through this, please?
Yes, of course, convener. Can I just check in the first instance that Mr. Ian Murray, the agent for the applicant, and Mr. Towers the applicant are with us and can hear me clearly. Mr. Murray, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Thank you. So this is an application, members, for a new premises licence in respect of Lonsdale Cinema at Lady Street in Annan. A layout plan in respect of the application has been circulated to yourselves. So you're statutorily obliged to hold a hearing, as you're aware, and the application was received on the 25th of January 2022, and the full details of that application are at Appendix 1 to this report. I can confirm that satisfactory Section 50 certificates for planning, building standards, food hygiene have been received, and also a disabled access and facility statement has been received. In terms of our statutory advertising procedures, I can confirm that the notice was published on the board's webpage from Friday the 4th of February until Saturday the 26th of February 2022. And contrary to what is stated in the report at paragraph 2.5, satisfactory signed confirmation of site notice has been received confirming display at the premises. In terms of objections and representations, the last date for objections representations was Friday the 25th of February 2022, and no objections or representations have been received. At Appendix 2 to the application, we have the LSO report, and I can confirm that the Police Scotland gave a clear report. So, convener, in terms of procedure, you may just wish to hear from Police Scotland and then the LSO, and if there's any questions to the LSO thereafter, and then allow Mr Murray to speak on behalf of his client, followed by any questions from yourselves, and then allow Mr Murray on behalf of his client to sum up and then go into session. Thank you.
Thank you, Caroline. So we'll hear from Scotland if there's anything there.
Thank you, convener. From Police Scotland, there is no police objections and nothing else by exception to add.
Thank you very much. Mike, LSOs?
Thank you, convener. Hopefully the report itself's explanatory. Absolutely no issues, problems or concerns from my perspective. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Michael. Mr Murray?
Yes.
I'm just wondering if you would like to come forward with your presentation.
Yes, well, I'm wondering if I did circulate a PDF of what I was going to say, and I'm just wondering whether all the members have received that. I sent it to Cheryl Syme earlier in the week and asked for it to be passed on so that I could obviously just go over the terms of that. It's just a summary of what I'm going to say. So I just wanted to check whether that had been received.
Convener, I can see Sharon Davidson, our licensing manager's got her hand up.
Yep. Sharon, you want to come in?
Yeah, thank you. Just to confirm, we have actually received it. I assumed that Mr Murray would obviously just be making that presentation to the board today, so apologies for not sending that on. I can circulate it now if you wish, but perhaps Mr Murray...
I mean, I'll just repeat it, and obviously that will save some time. Now, obviously, I'm appearing on behalf of Lonsdale Cinema. Alan Towers, I think, is also in attendance at this meeting by phone. So if there were any specific practical issues that needed to be clarified to allow the board to determine the application, he will be more than able to assist and clarify the issue. Just to confirm that the application is in respect of one of the cinemas only at the complex belonging to the partnership at Lady Street. As your clerk has stated, the plans have been submitted to the board, and as we've already heard, there have been no objections. The applicants do own other cinemas in the UK and do have one premises down in Penrith, which has previously been licensed under the provisions of the licensing legislation south of the border. They have had no issues in connection with that property. The applications have, prior to the submission of this application, been enjoying occasional licences for the premises, and these have been granted without difficulty and without any issues raised by any of the bodies concerned. In relation to the application, it's confirmed that the application is only, as I've said, for one cinema at the site, not the whole premises. The other cinemas are accessed by separate doors, and there is no communication between the premises for which the premises licence is applied for. As the licensees have had experience with the provisions of the service of alcohol in a cinema environment south of the border, some of the practical aspects of that has been adopted in these premises. In particular, the sale of alcohol will be appropriately controlled in that those who will be serving the customers who ask for alcoholic beverages will be prompted on the till to ask for evidence of age if necessary. The licensees will adopt the procedures such as the Challenge 25 policy and will ensure that the dispensing of alcoholic beverages will be in appropriate and safe containers. As I understand it, there will be no glass receptacles provided for use in the auditorium. As well as the provision of alcoholic beverages when feature films are shown, the auditorium is frequently used for live streaming of concerts, ballets and operas where customers can view these spectacles from famous auditoria and other important musical venues. This is quite popular and avoids substantive expense in people wanting to see a live opera or ballet without having to travel long distances. The provision of alcoholic beverages at the premises is ancillary to the main purpose of the cinema, and the protocol in place will be those which are found in many cinemas throughout Scotland which have the facility to sell alcoholic beverages. As the premises are to be used both by adults and for children, the licensee and those who will be serving are fully aware of the licensing requirements concerning children and young persons. As I said, both myself and Mr. Towers are available to answer any of the board's queries in relation to the application, and I would commend the application to the board. Should the board be minded not to grant the application, I would, as is normally the case, make a request for a Section 25 declaration. And that's the end of my presentation.
Thank you very much, Mr. Murray. Members, we're in sort of this. I've read through this report. I see a lot of good reports coming back from the police, the LSO, and the verbal presentation from Mr. Murray. Unless there's any questions, I see no reason that we should not grant the application and take that forward. Has anybody got any questions for the applicant? So in which case I would say the board has agreed to grant the application. And Caroline, Stephen, you got your hand up.
No, just to go with your proposal, which is just to grant the application. Thanks, Convener.
Thank you. Caroline, can you confirm that?
Yes, thank you, Convener. So, Mr. Murray, your client's application for a new premises licence has been granted by the board, and a member of our team will be in touch in early course with regards to the confirming that in writing and also sending out your licence.
That is great. Thank you very much. I will now be leaving the meeting.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Members, item number 8 has been dropped.
Ian Murray
is now exiting.
Alan Towers, Lonsdale Cinemas
is now exiting.
Right, we'll now go on to item number 9, which is the licence Scotland Act 2005-68 premises. Alcohol premises, Brig Inn, 5 Bridge Street, Brightcirk. The licence holder, the firm of the Brig Inn, 5 Bridge Street, Brightcirk. Caroline, do you want to come on this? Stephen, you got your hand up.
Yeah, sorry, Archie. It's actually on item 8. Do we need to, because it's a published agenda, if you like, do we need to, while there's no need to maybe have that, because there was a grounds for hearing established and then it came in the pack of papers, do we need to kind of record that somehow, or would that be, it's just to check if it's a technical shenanigan?
I did record at the start of the minutes, and the item number had been moved was last night. But Caroline, do you want to?
So just basically in relation to item number 8, it's been removed from the agenda because the Firth Hotel actually paid the outstanding annual fees that were due yesterday afternoon. Sometimes when there is, when it has been taken to a board, the licence holder will pay the outstanding annual fees. So there is therefore no issue, Councillor Thompson, in relation to the Firth Hotel, so it has been removed from the agenda. That, as I say, that was only done yesterday, and I think an email went out to yourselves today just to confirm removal of that item from the agenda.
Happy with that, Stephen?
Yeah, I think it was just, if it was like we had to say, well, because it's published, the fees have been paid, I did get the email, and it was just like, okay, now we do have to note that there's no longer grounds for a hearing. But do you know what I mean? But I'll happy with that because I've had the advice, but it was just a question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we'll go to item 9. Caroline, do you want to take us through the firm of the Brig Inn 5 Bridge Street, Brightcock?
Yes, thank you, convener. So this is in relation to the Brig Inn in Bridge Street, Brydekirk. The premises licence holder is the firm of the Brig Inn at 5 Bridge Street, Brydekirk, the same premises. And this pertains to section 28 of the Licence in Scotland Act 2005, the premises being ceased to be used for the sale of alcohol. So you're being asked to make a determination as to whether these premises have ceased to be used for the sale of alcohol, the consequence of which, if you decide that they have ceased to be used for the sale of alcohol, the consequence is that the licence ceases to have effect. Now, if the licence ceases to have effect in law, that's it gone. It cannot be resurrected. It is quite a sort of difficult provision, members, because what you're being basically asked to consider is the premises can cease to be used for the sale of alcohol for other reasons, then they can be ceased to be used for the sale of alcohol for an interim period. For example, if the premises are being refurbished or if they're being sold, and the law, section 28, doesn't give us any assistance as to what time period we're talking about. But I would suggest that the major considerations here is, if you're making a determination, have the premises ceased to be used for the sale of alcohol, we're looking at implying a sense of permanency here. It's not being closed for an interim period for certain reasons like refurbishment. It's being of the opinion that there's no likelihood that the sale of alcohol is going to recommence. Now, in terms of the Coronavirus Scotland Act 2020, there is just a law in place at the moment which provides that the premises do not cease to be used for the sale of alcohol if they've been not used for the sale of alcohol for a temporary reason relating to coronavirus. So all of the information here before yourselves, it's kind of a balancing exercise here. Have the premises been closed for an interim period, or are you of mindset that they're closed permanently? They're never going to be resurrected to sell alcohol? Because you've also got to remember, if you're making a determination that the licence has ceased to have effect, you're also taking away a valuable asset from the premises licence holder. Now, there's a few kind of pertinent points here. There's outstanding annual fees that are due in relation to these premises. You'll note at paragraph 2.7 of the report that from 2019 into 2020, there's a partial outstanding fee not being paid of £54.99, and then 2020 into 2021 the full annual fee was not paid of £220, and in 2020-2022 another full annual fee not paid of £220. So the total in annual fees that have not been paid in respect of these premises is £494.99, if I can do my sums properly. And you'll recall that payment of your annual fees is a mandatory condition in relation to the licence. Now, you'll note at paragraph 2.8 of the report that advises that written correspondence has been sent to the licence holder chasing payment of the annual fees. This written correspondence is detailed at Appendix 1, Appendix 2, Appendix 3 and Appendix 4, and you'll note on these letters the address that the letters have been sent to is the firm of the Brig Inn at Bridge Street, being the premises. Unfortunately, we do not hold any other address for this licence holder. Now, I've been advised that we've actually not managed to inform the licence holder of today's hearing, basically because the only address that we have is the 5 Bridge Street at Bridekirk, and you'll notice that the LSO, and you may wish to hear from the LSO because Mickey might be very helpful here as well. Convener, Mickey has very helpfully visited the premises, I believe in October 2021, and taken pictures of the premises at Appendix 6. So what's a little bit of concern is that the licence holder is not aware that this report is before yourselves today, but correspondence has been getting sent to the only address we've got in our system and asking for these payment of the annual fees, and they've not responded. And I would expect members know far more about the other issues than I do, but I understand that the premises have been sold, and an individual has purchased these premises and wishes to convert the premises into a residential dwelling, and of course planning permission, as I understand it, was not given, and there may be an appeal, so we can set aside the planning matter here. The premises, as I say, it is a difficult provision, members, because you're taking away a valuable asset from this firm. If the premises cease to be used for the sale of alcohol, the licence ceases to have effect, that is it. Therefore, if the premises were to open as a community pub in the future, and that's obviously a speculative consideration, it would be for the new tenant, the new purchasers or whatever, to make an application for a new premises licence. So just it's a kind of balancing act. Have they been closed? Are they closed permanently? And you're of the opinion that there's no chance of them selling alcohol again, or are they closed for an interim period here? But a concern is that the premises licence holder, as I understand it, is not aware of today's hearing. And in terms of natural justice, do you want to give the licensing team a chance to try and contact them, send a letter to the Brigin to advise them that this would be going toward yourselves at a future date for consideration as to whether this premises licence ceases to have effect? I'll stop there, Convener. You may wish to hear from Mickey, who's visited the premises. He might be able to give you an update, but it's just to draw to your attention that my understanding is that the premises licence holder is not aware of today's proceedings. Thank you.
Okay, Mickey, you want to come in on that?
Thanks, Convener. Not too much more to add other than what Caroline has already explained. When I was out last, it was the 1st of October, and that was the first time I'd been to the premises since COVID had kicked in. The pub was closed, it looked derelict, certainly the doors hadn't been open for a long time. I spoke to 2 different neighbours, one on either side of the premises. Both could tell me that the owners had more or less flitted overnight, gone back to Ireland, but neither had any knowledge of where they'd moved to, and nothing really further I can add to that, unfortunately.
Okay, so thanks for that. Members, have you got any? I actually think that we should give them one more chance, the licensing holders, one more chance to actually come back to the licensing board. But it will be a new licensing board that it will be coming back to. I would be loath to give, to make a recommendation today because of the potential, and I'm saying it's only a potential for a community organisation. Understanding that it has been bought by a doctor in Lockerbie. I would prefer to see the justice please and give them the opportunity to come back. Dougie, you were first, then Stephen.
No, I would just echo that, Convener. I'm of that opinion as well, just to make that noted.
Stephen?
Yeah, I mean, I think after hearing from Caroline, I don't know what's a reasonable amount of opportunity to contact people, especially as the bills aren't paid. You know what I mean? So now we should exhaust that, potential to try and get some contact with them. However, I did take some comfort for the fact that, you know, whatever happens in the future to that premises, it could still, you know, it would be subject to a new application basically by whoever wanted to take something forward. And obviously, as we've seen quite a lot recently, actually with you know, undertakings using provisional, temporary occasional licences and then putting in their full application, you know, so there's a route for a future development to happen there should that be appropriate. I'm just a wee bit concerned that this is going back to 2019, 2020, and there's been seemingly no effort from the part of the premises licence holder to come forward. So yeah, I mean, by all means, one more chance sort of thing, but I suppose ultimately it's like you have to draw the line somewhere and then say, well, that's that. Do you know what I mean? So I'm happy to go along with the rest of the board on this one.
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, obviously this has nothing to do with the people who own the place at the moment. We are trying to do anything like that. I think this is more to do with the licence holder. The existing licence holder has not paid the bill for the last. If that licence holder didn't know this thing was on TV last chance, I think it comes back to the first licensing panel in the next second, the Annandale and Eskdale. I would suggest we go forward with that. Caroline, would that be appropriate?
Obviously, convener, that is a decision for yourselves. If you were to defer consideration, it would maybe just give the team an opportunity to just see if we can make any kind of further inquiries, or indeed just at least send notification to this address at Bridge Street, you know, that there's going to be a hearing, given that it is a valuable asset. It is. I think it's a very, very difficult one here, convener, unfortunately, because we only have that one address on our system. But it obviously is a decision for yourselves.
Okay, Stephen.
Yeah, it was just actually on the point of the process. So effectively, what it sounds like is we're effectively saying, can we defer a determination in this until there's one more attempt to contact?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm suggesting that we go forward. There's one more attempt to contact the licence premise holder, and see if we can get back to the next licensing board after the new one in the new term. Are we happy with that?
Agreed.
Yes.
Hey, Caroline, can you confirm the decision by the board?
Yes, of course, convener. So in relation to this item number 9, a decision has been made to defer determination as to whether the premises have ceased to be used for the sale of alcohol, to enable the licensing team to attempt one more attempt to contact the premises licence holder. And this item will appear before the next licensing board convener when that date is determined.
That's great. Very much. Then, moving on to the next item, which is another item. This is the last Annandale and Eskdale Divisional Licensing Board for this term of council. I just wanted to put on record my thanks to all of the officers, Police Scotland, Mikey, Sharon, Cheryl, and yourselves, members, for your support and your encouragement during this particular last couple of years that I've been the convener of the licensing board. So thank you very much for all that you've done. Hopefully see something back in the future, and we'll look forward to doing the business as promptly as we normally do. Thanks very much.
Thank you, convener. Thank you, members.
Thanks, Archie. You've done a sterling job.
Thanks.
Certainly have, Archie.
Thank you so much, convener.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, members.
Okay, bye,
Thank
folks.
you. Bye now.
Thanks all.
Bye.